Good morning. Thank you, Amanda, and thank you all for coming to Washington. I think it's important for all of you to be here. This is an important meeting, and I know many of you have come before. The idea of coming to Washington is important because you can have a great deal of influence with those people who you send here as your elected representatives and senators. They make very important decisions, and I hope you'll have a chance at some point to go to Capitol Hill and visit with them. Obviously, a couple of them, good friends of mine, have come here. Dan Lipinski and I served together from Illinois. He's still from Illinois, and so am I, but he's an elected congressman, and I have the privilege of serving in the President's cabinet. Earl Blumenauer and I have been friends, and when I was nominated for this position, one of the first people I went to meet on Capitol Hill was Earl, and we talked for over an hour about livable communities. And during the whole time that I was being considered by the Senate, I would have to go and meet with senators and talk to them prior to my confirmation. And one of the things that I would always talk to them about, some would talk to me about it, is livable communities. I want all of you to know you're going to have a full partner at DOT in really working on the idea of livable communities. I don't know whether it will be a title in the bill. I'll leave it up to these guys to figure that out, or we set aside significant resources, but it's just so important. I think all of you recognize that President Obama is really a transformational figure in so many ways, and what he wants to accomplish in many different departments is really forward-looking and not really thinking about the past, but thinking about how we move forward. And so in any event, I'm delighted to be a partner with Dan and certainly with Earl and many other members of Congress, both in the House and Senate, who want to make our communities livable. And I think Earl has worked on this almost from the very first day that he was in elective office back in his home state, and certainly almost from the very first day that he came to Washington, D.C. It proves that it takes a long time to get anything done in Washington, but if you stay here long enough, if you work long enough, and if you're able to convince enough people, eventually you can really get things done. So we are going to be committed to that, and every time that I have a chance to meet with anyone on Capitol Hill, any time I have a chance to give a speech about anything, livable communities is a part of our agenda. And so I'm going to make a few remarks about some of the other things that we're going to be involved with. A few years ago, let me just say this. I started out as a big jogger, and I still like to jog, but in order to get my wife into the exercise mode, she and I bought comfort bikes from a local bike store in Peoria, and we have a Rails to Trails program or path in Peoria that runs along the old Rock Island Railroad line, and we have fought long and hard with a couple of rail companies to get that complete, and we're still fighting a little bit with the Surface Transportation Board to get it done. But the Rails to Trails program has been something that I have paid special attention to because, for selfish reasons, in my own hometown of Peoria, I have utilized what we call the Rock Island Trail to get my wife out on her bike and for both of us to do some biking together. And the thing that has always struck me about when I've been on the Rock Island Trail is how many families utilize it. And what a great place it is when you see these little kids riding their bikes and they have a helmet on and they're learning about safety and, you know, the exercise that they get. It's a magnificent thing, and I know that many of you have these same opportunities in your own communities. So on behalf of President Obama, I want to thank you for inviting me here today to share the Department of Transportation's vision for a cleaner, greener America. An America where housing, land use, transportation planners work closely with local citizens to create the kind of walkable, sustainable neighborhoods we all want to live in. An America where we invest in transportation choices that make communities stronger, connect people to jobs, and reduce our carbon footprint. An America where bicyclists are recognized to coexist with other modes of transportation and they can safely share our roads, bridges, and trails. As many of you know, I'm a longtime supporter of cycling. I'm a big fan of Rails to Trails project, particularly in my hometown in Illinois, Peoria. I've been on these trails many, many times. I fought to include funding for transportation enhancements to benefit bicycling in Safety Lieu, the surface transportation authorization that expires this fall. I'm sure you're eager to learn what the next authorization holds for cyclists. We're still developing a set of principles that we will share with the President and his staff, but I can tell you this, I'm committed to a strong focus on people and communities where they live and where they work. One of our key goals is to encourage livability, to invest in ways that recognize the unique character of each community. The era of one-size-fits-all transportation projects must give way to one where preserving and enhancing the qualities that make each community special, whether it's rural or urban, is a primary goal rather than an afterthought. That means communities wishing to develop more bicycle facilities, pedestrian-friendly walkways should have the flexibility to do so alongside with other priorities. In fact, I want state and local officials to consider all the flexibility they have to use federal highway and transit funds to support bicycling facilities. I can only tell you I can also tell you we're going to build on our successes. Federal funding for pedestrian and bike projects reached an all-time high in 2007 and 2008. A federally funded pilot project to study the effects of improved walking and bicycling facilities in 4 communities is well underway. And this spring, the Federal Highway Administration, along with state transportation officials, will look at best practices in Europe to improve safety and mobility for walkers and bicyclists. President Obama and I are committed to investing in programs that recognize that cyclists and pedestrians are important users of our transportation system. There's a strong support in Congress for these goals as well. But we don't want to wait for new authorization legislation to take action. The American Recovery and Reinvestment Act offers new opportunities for states and communities to fund bicycling projects. Roughly $800 million has been set aside in the economic recovery package for transportation enhancements. I encourage you to work with state and local officials to propose projects that may be eligible for portions of these funds. Every dollar of these funds will be spent with full accountability and transparency. No earmarks, no boondoggles, no secrets. And I hope you will all visit recovery.gov to track how the recovery money is spent. This is a very important part of this program. The Congress was good enough to pass the President's Economic Recovery Plan, over $700 billion, and recovery.gov is an available website that any taxpayer, any person, anyone who wants to be available can click onto it and find out where the money's being spent, where the grants are going, how many people are being employed. We're providing information to this website from our department to OMB, the Office of Management and Budget, and it becomes a White House website. And this, again, is very important. The President and Vice President came to DOT a week ago to thank our employees for all of the hard work that they have been doing to implement this program. And he also stressed, the President also stressed, recovery.gov. And while I'm speaking of our employees, we have at the department some of the most professional, outstanding people that I've ever met in the 30 years that I've been in government. These people work hard. They work hard on behalf of the taxpayers and the citizens of our country, and I know many of them are here. Could any of the employees of DOT that are here please stand up and be recognized? So as we move forward, you're going to see new levels of federal cooperation to help deliver the integrated transportation solutions we need, from better transit connections for bikers to high-speed rail systems. H.G. Wells was right when he said, "When I see an adult on a bicycle, I do not despair for the future of the human race." And working together, our department and all of you from around the country with our friends in Congress, we are on the cusp, on the verge of making more progress than I think we've ever made before in really doing the things that I think Americans really want to do, and that's have an opportunity to live in communities where bicycling and walking and jogging and all the things that we love to do really become the priority for communities, for planners, and for the vision that all of you have had for so many years. So again, thank you for coming to Washington. I'm grateful to be included in this. And again, I say to all of you, you have a full partner at DOT to accomplish many of the things that you want to do. I'll be working with my friends and colleagues that I worked with in Congress for 14 years, but I want you to know I'm pledged to work with all of you. Thank you very much.